welcome back to Get Fit for a Purpose. I'm Jo, and today we're delving into a topic that I know resonates with many of us. Do you find yourself perfectly on track with your calorie goals during the week, only to see it all go sideways during the weekend? Well, if that's a yes, you're definitely not alone. This cycle of strict weekday dieting followed by weekend indulgence is really all too common. But why does it happen, and what can we do about it? So think about a typical week for you. You're disciplined, focused, and everything's going great. Then comes the weekend, and it's as if a switch flips. Suddenly the rules don't seem to apply, and indulgence takes over. But why? One big factor here is an overly restrictive weekday diet. So when we deprive ourselves of whether it's food groups or we cut our calories too low, it can create a sense of scarcity in our body and deprivation. And so what happens when we finally relax and let our guard down at the weekend is we overeat and we move less. So in reality, what you have going on is a double whammy. You're probably eating most, if not all, and more of the deficit you achieved over the week because your body's spooked by the lack of food, the deprivation it's had during the week. So your body's going to make you feel tired and it's going to make you have less energy, purely so that you burn less calories. And this is an entirely natural biological response that your body's having. So your body is wired to make you want to eat enough to survive and thrive and conserve energy so that when you go into a deficit, especially a large one, then your body is going to fight back. So you might think you're being weak and have a low level of self-control at the weekend, but in reality, there's a lot more at play. It's just your body providing a normal response to survive in what it sees as a really dangerous situation. Your body's releasing hormones that make you feel hungry, irritable, and also make you feel lethargic because your body's desperate for you to conserve precious energy in this time when food is scarce. So how do you tackle this? Well, the key is balance. So instead of imposing extreme restrictions, what you need to do is aim for a diet, a calorie deficit that's both sustainable and nourishing. So sensible calories include nutritious whole foods into your daily intake, and of course leave room for those occasional treats that we all love. So now I'm going to talk about a strategy that some of us might be familiar with and have tried over the years. And that's banking calories to use at the weekend. So it's like a reward system, right? Save your calories up on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, rest of the weekdays, and then indulge them at the weekend. The trouble with this is it actually quite often leads to people consuming far more calories at the weekend than they actually saved. It's a really tricky balance to get right. So here's what I'd suggest. If you're considering this approach, particularly for a special occasion like a meal out, a birthday party or something, here's what I recommend. First, make sure that you're starting from a sensible calorie amount during the week. So if, for example, you're dieting on a sensible calorie allowance of 1,800 or 2,000 calories a day, if you do bank calories, try not to go over 10% of your daily allowance. So in the example I just gave of 1,800 calories a day, that would mean you would bank a maximum of 180 kilocalories a day, and probably only for 2 or 3 days. And I'd really only recommend you do that for a special occasion. In practice, although I know it's not always practical for how we live our lives, a better strategy really is to spread your indulgences evenly throughout the week. So allow headroom in your calories for small treats that satisfy cravings without leading to that restriction that can then lead you to binge at the weekend. So it's all about really maintaining a sense of normalcy around all the foods. And that leads me on to another reason the weekends are tricky, because they often come with their own set of challenges. We tend to have different routines, and most of us really are more likely to be at social gatherings or dining out. So those scenarios present so many tempting food choices. The trick to remember is to always, if you can, plan ahead. Maybe peek at the restaurant menu beforehand, or make a conscious decision and decide how you're going to navigate a particular party's offerings. So, for example, decide that you're only, in terms of alcohol, maybe you're only going to have 2 glasses of wine and that's it. And you know what? Sometimes it's totally fine to make a conscious decision to go and eat the food you really want to. That's totally fine. You've got a life to lead. You're only going to have 140th or 150th birthday party to celebrate. All I'd say is if you do this, do it intentionally and make sure you don't beat yourself up about it afterwards. Make a choice and own that decision and go and enjoy yourself. Just always remember that it's not the 1 or 2 big celebrations you have during a year that send you off track. It's what you do for 95, 96% of the year that are actually going to make a real difference to your health and weight. So to summarise, breaking the cycle of overeating at the weekend so that you can successfully lose some weight involves a few strategies. One, make sure that your calorie deficit, that the amount of calories that you're dieting on is a sensible level. Please be wary of really low calorie diets. And by that, I really mean anything lower than 1,500 calories a day, unless you're a really small person. Because anything lower than that really is too low for most people to find sustainable. You really do need to be a tiny, tiny person for that to work for you. So planning your treats is also really important. So instead of eating impulsively, choose those indulgences wisely, savour them, enjoy them, and remember always that treating yourself doesn't mean abandoning your health goals. Stay active. So keep up with your workouts, even on the weekends. Keep up with that daily movement. It's there to help your fitness and it reinforces your commitment to a healthy lifestyle. And remember, again, as I said, if you're feeling lethargic, look at those calories. If you're really feeling like you're really low on energy, it could be that you're not eating enough during the week. The key to managing weekend overeating isn't about striving for perfection every single day. It's about finding a balance that works for you long term. So it's about creating a lifestyle that doesn't involve deprivation, that ends up making you hungry. We've all been there. But instead leads you to a lifestyle that includes enjoyment without compromising on your health and fitness goals, because that is so possible. So to wrap up, here are your action steps. If you've had a weekend where you've overeaten, reflect on that weekend eating, identify any potential triggers. By that I mean consider whether your calories were too low during the week, and plan your next weekend with a new strategy, one that maintains a healthier balance. I hope you found that useful. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully I'll see you next time.